Hello and welcome to this session. In this session we're going to be moving on to fractions. Fractions are very important because they allow us to work with numbers that aren't in decimal form. In fact, fractions are more accurate than using decimals. So if you go on to do A-level mathematics, you'll find that you start using something called surds, which are more advanced fractions. That's layman's terms, and I'm sure that there's a mathematician hating me somewhere for saying that. However, when we're going to look at it, we're just going to be looking at it in terms of your GCSE exams. Now, fractions can come in very different shapes and sizes in different formats. If I draw a nice easy fraction such as 1/2, you might have learned that as just a half. I would encourage you to not use those terminologies when we're looking at this, because we're just going to be looking at those numbers. If we look at a half, we look at that, I've just done it there. If we look at 1/2, we can look at that and we say that is a proper fraction, that is normal, that looks fine to us because we've seen that time and time again throughout our school career. However, if we use a different fraction, 5/3, that doesn't look so right to us. And when you look at it, you might think, well, that number is higher than that one, and I was told that that can never happen. Truth is, it can happen, and it does often happen when you work with fractions. We call those improper fractions. Improper fractions aren't bad, but they're not in their simplest form. And when you're asked in the exam, you will be asked to put your fraction in its simplest form. So let's look at how we can take that and put it into its simplest form. And the way that we do that is we use something called a mixed fraction. Now, a mixed fraction is a mix of whole numbers and fractions. And the way that we work it out is we see how many times 3 goes into 5. So how many times does this number go into this number? This would be a very important time to let you know which one's which. So the bottom number is referred to as the denominator. The top number is referred to as the numerator. So we see how many times the denominator will fit into the numerator, and that will give us our whole number. So 3 will go into 5 just once. So we use a big 1, and then we say, well, what is the remainder? So if 3 goes into 5 once, what is left over? Well, it would be 2. So we do a little 2 there, over the denominator, because the denominator never changes. It will stay that way when we're working with mixed fractions. So quite simply, how many times does the denominator go into the numerator? Will give us our whole number. The remainder becomes our new numerator, and the denominator will stay the same. Very important that you remember that. You don't want to do all the hard work in your exam and then lose marks because you haven't left it in its simplest form, and this will be its simplest form. So these are mixed fractions. Now, mixed fractions are very useful for picking up that extra mark to leave it in its simplest form, but a mixed fraction is utterly useless when it comes to actually working with fractions. So if you want to add and subtract fractions, you'll find it very difficult to use a mixed fraction. So what we need to do is we need to look at how we go back the other way. How do we go from a mixed fraction to an improper fraction? The way that we do that is just by using a little spiral, okay? What we do is we say, well, 1 times 3 is 3. Then we add the numerator, gives us 5. So that becomes our numerator now. And again, the denominator will stay the same. So once more, we use the large number times the denominator, add the numerator, and then that answer becomes our new numerator. It's very wordy, I know, but if you use that technique, you won't go far wrong. We already know that's right because we've gone from that improper fraction to that mixed fraction and then back again. The reason that we do that again is just so we can use this when we're trying to add fractions such as this. And we are going to cover that in our next sections. I hope that you found this helpful. Stay tuned for more.